Hello, everyone. Welcome to Backyard Music, broadcasting live from Apple Valley. I'm Steve.
And I'm Scott.
Thank you so much for joining us today. You know, we always talk about the Biden-Harris idiocracy, and today is one of the reasons why we call it an idiocracy instead of administration.
Money.
One example: have a $1.8 trillion bust in your budget, aka a deficit. Just blame Trump. Right? After all, voters are dumb. They'll believe it. That's what the Dems believe. The White House blamed former President Trump, Donald Trump, and his administration for the $1.8 trillion deficit the Treasury Department reported last week for fiscal year 2024. 4 years after he left office, he's being blamed for a deficit.
Well, I mean, he gets blamed for everything, right? He got blamed for a bill that didn't pass. That was part of Kamala Harris's Brett Baer interview. It's never ending. It's a page out of the President Obama playbook. I mean, they did that for 8 years. They blamed Bush.
Oh, yeah.
But anyway.
Okay, so here's the quote. The former administration passed tax cuts for billionaires and corporations that have led to where we are currently in this deficit, Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre said. She's going to go down in history equal to Baghdad Bob.
Oh, absolutely.
Equal to.
Maybe worse. I don't know what to believe out of that woman's mouth, really.
I know. So she told this to the Washington Examiner on Monday. Probably a question that they had at the press briefing. Quote, what we're trying to do here from this administration, which she meant to say idiocracy, is make sure that the economy continues to grow, that jobs are available, continue to grow, that we're lowering the unemployment rate and lowering costs. That's what she said. They're trying to do that.
Well,
What are they doing?
They don't get the Avis button. Remember the Avis button years ago? We try harder.
Yeah.
I don't know what they're doing, but anyway. So Jean-Pierre then compared the Biden administration's record, dismal, including the debt ceiling deal President Joe Biden and then House Speaker Kevin McCarthy agreed to last year, which would reduce the deficit by $1.5 trillion over the next decade, claiming the Republicans have been doing the opposite. Yeah, whatever. I don't know where they come up with this stuff. So they want to continue to give tax cuts to billionaires and corporations, she said. They want to make it harder for middle-class families. And so there's a difference there. Like the contrast could not be more different than what we're trying to do and what they're trying to do. Jean-Pierre dismissed the idea that the fiscal 2024 deficit, exacerbated by interest on the federal debt being more than $1 trillion for the first time, and we just talked about that, right?
Yeah.
And increased spending on Social Security, Medicare, healthcare, and the military was evidence Democrats are weaker on the economy than Republicans, as the economy remains one of the voters' top concerns, right? Economy, the border. Those are the big issues right now. So
notice how it's so clever. Just like Don't Say Gay, when it was banning books that had graphic, vulgar things in it.
Yeah.
Don't Say Gay.
In elementary school, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's just.
Yeah. And it's
disgusting.
Tax cuts for billionaires and corporations. Well, the tax cuts were for everybody. The poor got the most benefit from the tax cuts. Then the middle class got the second most. Right. And then billionaires, does it really matter that they saved $10,000 or $20,000 when they're billionaires? It helps the poor.
Right.
Golly.
Well, and who are the billionaires? They're the ones that are employing people, right?
Right.
I mean, they're the ones that are driving
most
the economy.
Most of them are corporations, you know?
Right. They're driving
Apple
the economy.
is a billionaire.
Creating jobs. Kind of like Trump, you know?
Yeah.
He's created a lot of jobs. Tell me how many jobs Kamala Harris has created. Joe Biden has created. Actually, literally. Not the jobs reports that come out every quarter
that are falsified.
A lot of them have been falsified, right? So, I'm talking about signing somebody's paycheck. How many people? It's a totally different world. So.
Stay with us at the end. We're going to show you slides from the Committee for Responsible Budget that compares the Trump and Harris It's totally night and day, the comparison. So this is what Jean-Pierre says. It's not true, the press secretary said. We saw a situation where the pandemic, where there was no strategy. What? Democrat governor shut it down. That was the strategy. Businesses were closing down. The majority of schools were closed. And why? Because people couldn't go out. They couldn't buy. You had to have 6 foot separation outside. Yeah. The majority of schools were closed. Yeah, my wife taught from our spare bedroom. And so this president has said he needed to turn that around with the help of the vice president. She pins it on the vice president, too. And so this is why we're going to go to New Hampshire tomorrow. We're going to speak to the Inflation Reduction Act and what the president and vice president has been able to do in lowering costs, because we understand there's more work to do.
Show me the lowered costs. Show me. Go to the grocery store. Oh my gosh, it's incredible.
Folks,
food is costing.
The only people that have benefited from the idiocracy are illegal aliens. That's the only people that have benefited.
Right.
Okay, quote. We're going to continue the quote. Everything that we're talking about, Republicans in Congress, majority of them don't want to see. She said nobody wants to see what she's saying.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. They're on the other side of what we're trying to do. You're darn right they are. They want people to prosper. High tide raises all. Oh man, I'm getting
worked up.
Yeah, I got to take my pills. I got to take my pills. We understand there's more work to do, and we're going to continue to push forward. And this is my words, and ruin our lives.
That's their typical spin, right? We've got more work to do. Yep. So the deficit, So for the deficit for fiscal 2024, the year that ended September 30th, just a couple weeks ago, was 8% higher, or $138 billion more, from the $1.7 trillion deficit for fiscal 2023. I mean, that's a lot of money.
But Biden's saying we're lowering the deficit. That's what he said. But it raised. Yeah. It increased.
So though it was lower than the pandemic era deficits of $3.1 trillion in fiscal 2020 and $2.8 trillion in fiscal 2021. Again, there was some stuff going on there, and we're trying to get around that, right?
Yeah.
So the Committee for a Responsible Federal Budget, a fiscal think tank, has estimated that former President Trump's 2024 campaign proposals would create $7.5 trillion in new debt, while President Biden's, Vice President Kamala Harris's plans are projected to add $3.5 trillion. Let's see how that breaks down from the Committee for a Responsible Budget.
Okay, so we promised you we'd have these slides, and here we go. Let me get down there. Let me throw this up. Okay, so first one we're looking at, that's the Harris plan. Well, yeah, we'll look at the Harris plan.
Yeah, we'll look at that one first.
We'll look at that one first. So the costs, I mean, these are altruistic. I like these. Extend the Tax Cut Jobs Act, which they condemned. Billionaires get it, right? Why are they extending it if billionaires and corporations are?
Right.
Come on, man.
Yeah.
Extend the child tax credit. Okay, I like that for the poor people and people in that bracket, you know.
Well, right now, if
and some middle class too,
and they need it, right?
Yeah,
because of the cost of goods.
Expand and extend the ACA. It's questionable, but if healthcare premiums, yeah, I'm for it. Affordable housing, support it, yeah. Exempt tips. Well, that was Donald Trump's idea.
Right.
So these are altruistic. Improve border security. That's laughable. What they mean is get more agents to catch and release, get more judges to make them naturalized citizens, right? All right, so, I mean, the costs are, look at the revenue. The first four things are taxes on the revenue. That's what she's counting as revenue. Corporate tax rate, increase it. Taxes on capital income, Medicare taxes, international tax rules, minimum tax. That's her revenue.
And let's face it, you tax corporations, who's going to actually pay for that?
The customer.
The customer. Whoever's buying the good or service is going to pay for that.
Well, you just went to McDonald's. Ask you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's big bucks.
It's a arm and a leg.
It's big bucks.
Yeah. All right. So let's look at Trump's plan. All right. So a little bit different. Again, altruistic here. Extend the Tax Cut Jobs Act. Extend overtime income from taxes. Extend taxation of end taxation of Social Security. Okay, so instead of taxing, he's cutting taxes, right? And it costs to do that, right?
Well, they're going to have, Congress is going to have to tighten its belt, right? Stop spending such junk.
Well, it's also the budget that Trump puts forward. He puts forward. So
right,
and
but Congress spends like a drunken sailor.
Yeah.
No offense to sailors
in a strange port. In a strange port. Yeah.
They do.
Okay. Revenue. Look at this revenue. Establish a baseline tariff. Tomorrow we're going to explain tariffs completely. All right. Reverse current energy policies. Yeah, we'll undo the regulation. It takes money to undo the regulation. Right? Reduce waste, fraud, and abuse. And I think Elon is going to be a part of that. Hopefully they read the Festivus report and they go after the pork and cut the pork, right? That Rand Paul. We did a Festivus report on Rand Paul.
Beginning of this year.
And the Department of Education. Yeah, you like that.
I do.
And so his revenue, right? It's not taxes. Right. And so when you're cutting these taxes, the first 4 or 5 things on his costs was cutting the taxes. That's going to put more money in our pockets. And we're either going to save the money or we're going to spend it, or a little mixture of both. Right.
Either way, it's good. Right.
Either way, it's good.
Yep.
So that's going to bring the energy back, is going to make all pistons fire on the economy engine.
Yeah.
Right. And so people are going to be spending more tax revenue from people spending,
and hopefully spending on money they have rather than spending with credit card debt.
They might have to start paying off some credit card debt from the last 4 years.
Right.
So, I mean, this shows that it's higher, his deficit, but
his savings are in the right spot, though.
The savings are, and the economy is going to bring more revenue. That's what you can't see from here.
Yeah.
He did it in his first 4 years.
Yeah, this is very similar to like Reagan's economy, right?
Yeah. So, folks, we hope that you enjoyed this segment. I don't know, enjoy is the right word, but we tried laying it out there.
It's real stuff. I mean, this is not hocus pocus, right? This is really, and for the Biden administration to try and hide it or spin on it, it's not right.
It's definition of the idiocracy.
And what's worse are the people that are listening to it and buying into it, and it's sad.
DC Corinne going to go down in history.
Yeah.
All right, folks. Thank you for joining us today. Tomorrow, tariffs. We're gonna explain it.
Yep.
Because people are saying it's a tax hike. We're gonna explain it.
We'll see tomorrow.
All right, folks.
Take care. Thank you.
You have a good one.